Dave Weiss here again with the Glue Bomb Show. Well, I finished the iced tea project and we're ready to move on to the next thing. I'm going to move this to the board this week and I'm looking forward to it. I've already got started a little bit. I did the opening of this box before. It's the World War Toons from Meng. This again is that Panzer tank, and again, it's not that I bought it because it was a Nazi tank or anything like that. I'm not a big fan of all that stuff, but here's the thing. Somebody really recommended these kits to me. I went to my local Hobby Lobby, and this was the one they had left, so I decided to work on it and build it. And hopefully I'll be able to get the Sherman at some point and put them up against each other in a battle, and the Sherman will win, because that's how it works here. All right. Anyway, so first things first, I went in, I got myself, now they already cast this in kind of a tan plastic. You can see that there, and the reason they do that is because some people are just going to want to put this together. I, on the other hand, want to paint this, and part of what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to paint camouflage. I have not painted camouflage before, but this kit costs $12.99, and I had the 40% off coupon, so I didn't pay a lot of money for this kit, so I'm going to experiment a little bit. I'm going to experiment with painting camouflage, and I'm going to show the process with you. I'm not using an airbrush. I'm going to use a brush. I'm a painter in my other life, so I'm hoping that I can do a good job. But the first thing that I did, and I just did it with all the parts right away, is I just sprayed them all with a nice flat desert sand paint. It was a little better than the tan, I thought. But the other thing is, because I'm going to be building a camouflage on it, I wanted to start by having my light color value in place. I think the model paint, the flat model paint that I bought, will stick better to this. And the other thing is, I just like to paint all my parts. I like to paint all my parts. I think that if you leave the plastic exposed and then try to paint over it, it's going to look different. I want it to look like a consistent paint job. So that's what I did. I'm going to stop here because the next thing I'm going to do is stick enough of the parts together that I can do a consistent camouflage job across it. So that'll be the next part of the video. Okay, now the next thing I did was I assembled the main body of the tank and also the turrets. Now, I didn't, this is a snap kit, okay? And I checked and it does come apart, and that's what I was hoping for. So I didn't go for a really tight fit on either one of these pieces because essentially I think I'm going to need to be able to take them apart so that I can put wheels and other things on. But for now, I'm really just focused on getting it set up to do the camouflage. So that will be our next step. Okay, well, it's been years since I painted camouflage. I'm in my studio now, but I thought I would just kind of share a little bit about what I'm doing because, I don't know. I'm not sure how this is going to go, so we're just going to give it a try. Now, the first color that it called for was dark yellow. Now, of course, we need a flat dark yellow. We're doing military flats, and the thing is, I don't have a dark yellow. So what I'm going to attempt to do is I've got these little testers, just the regular testers model paint. I'm going to take some yellow and I'm going to put it on one of these handy dandy palettes. This one was probably a lid for a little Jello salad or something. And I'm just going to dump a little bit of yellow on there. And then I have this flat rust that I'm actually going to use for my brown. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of that. Again, I haven't even really, I've shaken it up a little bit, but I haven't even really whipped it that hard because essentially what I want to do is I just want to blend a little bit. And here's a tip for you when you're blending colors, okay? When you're blending a color, what you want to do is you want to start with a large amount of the light color and add the dark into it. And the reason for that is really simple. Light colors, it's easy to darken a light color it's harder to lighten a dark color. It can be done, it's just not easy. So I'm looking at the paint diagrams here in the book, in the booklet here, and to be honest with you, it's a really nice instruction booklet and everything, but it's really a little dark to see exactly where we're putting these things. So, and again, I'm starting with the body and the turret separately, and the reason for that is I want to have I want to make sure that my camo goes under the turret so that if I move the turret, you'll still be able to see. So I'm just going to sort of go a little sporadically here. I notice in the back end of the tank between these two, I assume those are air fans in the back there, that it stays light, but then it goes a lot of dark beyond there. So we're going to just sort of paint in these areas here with this dark yellow. We're just going to make some shapes and color in. Now, I'm not too worried about this first color. I always paint from from light to dark, and a reason for that is basically, once again, it's easy to cover over a light color. It's hard to cover over a dark color. So we're just going to brush this around, and we're just going to continue to make some odd camouflage type shapes. Again, I'm not too worried about this layer because it's the first layer, and I'll be layering other layers on top of it, other colors. I'll be going to a khaki green next, and after that I'll be going to just some other, and then after the khaki green I'll be adding a brown. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do on all of this yet because there's part of me that wants to feather these lines a little bit as I go to make it look a little more airbrushed, but I haven't decided exactly how to do that yet. This one for me is a work in progress. This is an experiment. I am not an expert camouflage painter by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just trying to do something different here, and you can see the shape as I'm starting to work it. I think I'm going to stop the recording here, and I'll show you when I get to the next color. Alright, well, we're back. If I look like a sweated mess, it's because I was out doing my workout, because, guys, we've got to keep ourselves in shape at least a little bit here, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so, last night, it was kind of late, but I decided to apply the green to the camouflage. And I ended up with something that looks kind of like this. The turret, I'm actually happier with the turret, but I'm generally not real happy with this at this point, so I'm going to have to keep experimenting a little bit. But that's sort of the point of this whole exercise, right? We're trying something new. And we've got to try something new. The only people who never fail are the people who never try anything new. So I'm not done with this yet. I'm going to add the brown. I'll give you another shot of it, and then we'll probably cut away. I'm going to try and experiment with something, though, so I'm going to keep you posted. And here we have the final product. I'm pretty happy with this guy overall. I think it came out pretty nicely. I have a few flaws. Overall, I want to tell you, I think this was a great kit. It was fun to build. It is snap fit, and it can be snap fit together pretty well. Now, I will say about my only complaint with this was some of the tiny parts were really hard to get in. Now, that might be old age and fat fingers because, well, that's where I'm at in life, but overall, this thing fit together like a glove. It worked beautifully. Now, as I look at my final product, I can't say I'm overly happy with it. There are some things that I would love to change. For starters, I think I would have assembled it a little differently. I would have probably left off all the running gear and probably put most of the other parts on and then airbrush this thing for the camouflage. I think I would have gotten a much cleaner piece had I done that. However, what I ended up doing was putting the remaining pieces on and then trying to paint them where they fit in the camouflage scheme. And I think it came out okay, don't get me wrong. I'm fairly happy with it. I'm not one of these people who beats themselves up over a kit. Overall, I had a great time with this. About the only thing I would say about it in a negative was I wish there were a few times where I wish that they had numbers for what order to put some of these parts on, because there were a couple times where I had to pull things off. I did glue it together. I think overall there were a couple, especially the smaller pieces, that really needed to be glued in, but I don't know. They may have locked in on their own. But the only other thing was, another reason why I would have liked to have assembled it and then airbrushed it was when you're assembling it and you're painting, I mean, brush paint goes on a little bit thicker, and I have a feeling that I filled in a few of the holes and I messed up the precision fit of this a little bit. Because again, this is a very precise fit. They really did a good job on tooling this thing. So I give this a really high recommendation. I really enjoyed building it. I think you will too. Go out and get one, give it a try, and have a good time. Because remember, model building is supposed to be fun. So have fun. Take care, guys. Have a good day.